the high spirit wind lawyer of the GMS Mississippi Camp, giving out honor and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bahashim Hawashai, Bahashim Kahakodash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, as well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. And today I want to go into a topic. All right, today I want to go into a topic entitled, protecting your peace. Something that was in my spirit. Something that was in my spirit, man. And I was talking to another elder about it, and it came back up because I did a lesson a while back. I think I did a lesson a while back entitled "Your Peace is the Prize." Your peace is the prize, because Esau, he promoted to us so many different things that he said that we should perceive as the prize. Whether it's a certain lifestyle, certain cars or women, or he said all these things was the prize, man. All right. Hey, shalom to you brothers and sisters who are tuning in to this live stream. All right. Shalom wa barakim. Peace and blessings. All right. I know, we don't celebrate Easter, but I do hope some of you brothers had an extra day off. Some of you brothers and sisters had a day or two off, man. Because rest is everything, man. And there's certain things in Babylon that you need. And one thing you need is rest, And once you mature in this truth and you get older, all right, you learn to cherish certain things that society or Esau's kingdom doesn't promote. Like, if you could take an afternoon nap, that's special. That's good. If you could take a nap in the afternoon, if you have rest, if you actually get a chance to recharge over the weekend, going into protecting your peace, man. All right, some brothers, you younger brothers, younger, 20s, 30s, whatever. All right, you might want to, have a woman at your apartment, or you might want company or whatever. But sometimes it doesn't go through, or the little chick was, on some other stuff, but through the spirit, it was more important for you to get that recharge, man. Okay? Some brothers may have had actual women live-in situations, and they no longer have a woman. But once you get some type of control over yourself, all right, you'll realize that the peace was the prize, man. When you have these bodily needs, you got this burn, you got these urges, so naturally you want the woman, right? But sometimes that woman might come with a price, and that price could be your peace. You see, that price could be your freedom. Okay. Some brothers might come into this truth, and you young, right? So you still with your mom, you still with your parents. All right, you got an extended family that you always around, your cousins, or certain people you hung around with. And when you live amongst Jake, right, and you're around niggas growing up, you tapped into the politics that's going on around the hood. You tapped into the drama that's going on in your environment. You plugged in. You know who got shot, you know who this, you know who that, and you plugged in, all right? You tapped into the dramas and all that shit, right? But when you come into this truth and the Most High allow you to move from that environment, you realize that a lot of that shit took away your peace, man. It took away your peace. Just the current events in your family's life, the latest tea, as they call it, and it took away your peace. Even certain things that we watch on our phone, like certain videos that pop up, there's a lot of negativity. Sometimes you gotta give yourself a break from that shit, man. All right? All right? Hey, protecting your peace. All right? Yahweh Bahashim Shai, he deals with that solitude, man. And you know, I'm passionate about this lesson, and I'm becoming more and more enthusiastic about this topic just because Esau doesn't promote it. Having a full night's rest, that's a prize. That's a temporary prize, man. All right, going home and it's quiet, that's a prize. Or you having harmony with your woman, like y'all actually got harmony. Like, of course, y'all have disagreements. The scripture says you will have trouble in the flesh. And Sirach 23, it tells you one of the things that he basically delighted was to see a man and a woman who agreed, man. So in most cases, you and your rib got some type of flow, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. Because either you're gonna have peace with her or without her, man. You see? But for a lot of us, man, because I'm saying this, a lot of times you have your needs, you have a void, and sometimes there's certain things you want. And naturally, as a man, you might want a woman or whatever may have you, but it takes you to go through certain experiences to realize that you already had the thing that was really valuable, and it was peace. All right, when you get a woman, a worldly woman, man, they move so contrary to men of the Lord, man. There is a lot of stuff that you added into your life that can take your peace from you, man. All right. Now, another thing that gives you peace is you winning the war within. You know, sometimes your own self is your biggest enemy. You know, whether it's your lower nature, your flesh, your reproductive devices that can't be fulfilled, and the things you do because of those impulses, and your flesh is really at war with you. And when you always chasing that impulse or trying to make an effort to please that impulse, you're never in a state of peace, man. And you don't realize that you are in an imbalanced state until you get that balance back. And if the Lord give you time where you got some type of control over yourself, you experience peace, man. All right? Having high vitality, that's the prize. Having high energy, that's a prize, man. Being fit, and a lot of brothers and sisters losing weight, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. You see? The way you feel about yourself changes when you look better, man. All right? But some things that we don't have, and then on another level, your peace might come from your faith. Despite what you got going on in the world around you, okay? Despite what you might have going on in the world around you, you might have peace in Yahweh Shai. All right? Peace knowing that there's a world beyond this life, man. You know? I was talking to some of the hopefully elect the other day. I was like, man, I want the kingdom, man. We need the kingdom, man. And one thing that you can have peace in is knowing that there's the kingdom coming, because it's 100% fail-proof to have hope in the kingdom. It's 100% fail-proof to have hope in the kingdom, man. Meaning you can't fail by having hope in the kingdom. You know, you cannot fail. You will fail in anything else, man. You will fail in a business venture. You will fail in building a life with a certain woman. They can fail, man. You can fail with your relationship with your kids, man. It sucks. We in hell, but you cannot fail having hope in Yahweh Bahashim Shai. That'll never fail you, man. You know? The brotherhood is the prize. The scripture says be around like-minded men. So if you are in the city and you have like-minded men around you, man, that's a gift. That's a prize. You in the city, you teaching. You don't have to teach by yourself. It's 2-3 men next to you. That's a prize, man. Y'all can eat and drink together. That's a prize. That's the gift. That's, hey, man, in the East, it's the little things, man. You know? It's the little things, man. Real shit. In the East, it's the little things, man. All right? Downtime, that's a fucking gift. And I noticed Satan, he wants you to have war with yourself so you don't appreciate the gift. You don't appreciate the little things. You don't appreciate the downtime. You don't appreciate the afternoon naps. You don't appreciate feeling recharged when you wake up. You don't appreciate the day off. You don't appreciate getting your spirit fulfilled because you read something in the scriptures that boosted your faith, man. You know? Feeling better. Hey, like I said, having vitality, that's a gift. You know? I be watching certain videos where it's Jake in the park doing muscle-ups, doing push-ups, and Jake could be like 50, 60 years old, man. But a lot of those men, their occupations is just middle class. They probably drive trucks. Some of them are maintenance workers, but they're rich in other things. To speak about having a sound body and having strength of body and a sound body, roughly paraphrasing, is more superior than money. You know how many Jakes started dying in their 30s and their 40s because of health issues? Here it is, Jake 50, 60 doing pull-ups with a six-pack, man. So those Jakes are rich now. We're rich in faith, and that's the most valuable thing. But even like, you know, to go to the park and exercise, man. All right, man, that's some type of happiness, you know? But there are a lot of little nuggets that the Most High give you, and the rest of the world doesn't see it. You know, the rest of the world doesn't see it because they weren't taught that there was a prize. You know, they wasn't taught that there was something that was valuable, man. You know? But in this monstrous, beastly kingdom, all right, your peace is the prize. Freedom is the prize. You're free. You're not free in the sense of, you know, everything you have is paid for. You paid all your debts off. You don't have to work a 9 to 5, but you're free in the sense of having autonomy, you know? But that's pretty much the point, man. All right? That's pretty much the point, man. Just, you know, it's the little things, man. You know, to see nature, to walk around a park with a pond, that's a gift. You know, the Most High raise your vibration and you have a sense of joy and peace and you're in a state of bliss because you're taking care of yourself. You have self-care, so you have a sense of happiness about yourself. That's a gift, man. You know, having food and raiment, let us be content. I always mention those blue zone diets where people live to be like 100. A lot of times their fulfillment came from just the little things. Those men that live to be 100, they never rocked a pair of designer shoes. They never had a 2-story home. They never drove a Maybach. They never did those things, man. They had a simple life, man. And they weren't tainted by the food that America gives us. They weren't tainted by the air quality. They weren't tainted, you know, just going through the hustle and bustle of life, man. They just had simple lives, man. And this truth is a gift. Knowing the truth is a gift. Having faith is a gift. about speak not of things too high for thee, or search not the things that are too high for thee. Get too deep, too deep, you know. But just knowing Yahweh by Shema Shai and having scriptures that builds your faith, knowing what the scriptures are to build your faith, that's the gift, man. The gifts that keep the gift that keeps on giving, man. You knowing that you have protection from Yahweh by you have protection that comes from Yahweh by Shema Shai. Hey man, that's a gift. You have a hedge. You know? There are things that come with this truth that has to keep you in a state of bitterness and keep you in a certain spirit, but you know, that keeps you in the spirit of haste. You know, America's bitter, man. You know, but that's pretty much the point, man. You know, enjoy your peace. You know, even if, you know, you are a caretaker, you might have to take care of a parent, you know, or your parents, plural. But that time that you have by yourself, hey man, Yahweh Bahashim Shai gave you that, man. Alright? He gave you that, man. You know? But that's pretty much the point, man. I'm not going to keep going. I want to continue, you know, but I'm just going to, you know, the Spirit gonna do what it do. Sometimes a lesson is 5 minutes. Sometimes a lesson is 30 minutes, you know? But it's the intangibles, man. Mental clarity is a gift. Being able to recall what you did 3 days ago, a week ago, that's a gift, man. All right? Mental clarity, like I said, high energy, that's a gift. You know, being able-bodied, man, that's a freaking gift. In this world, if you get up and walk around in this life, that's good, man. You know, and just believe. Sometimes you get on certain diet routines and certain regimens. Sometimes it's a mental burden because you're not used to restraining yourself, but understand that everything is an exchange. So intermittent fasting for a lot of brothers and sisters, that comes with an exchange. You gave up eating a certain meal early or later, but that increased your digestive window, which gave you a better digestive system, which in turn helped you lose weight. It gave you a more restorative rest at night, all right, which gave you mental clarity. You know, sometimes that one thing that you will let go will give you 2-3 benefits, you know? Sometimes some brothers have to slow down with a woman, right? And sometimes just maybe temporarily cutting off women or not dealing with women. All right, they gave you your peace back. It gave you your money back. It freed up your time. And I'm learning that with Yahweh Bashmal Shai, that one thing that you quote unquote sacrificed, it came back with a 3-fold investment, you know? Some brothers slowed down with liquor, all right? But slowing down with liquor gave you mental clarity. It increased your budget, all right? You feel me? Gave you, more energy just because you slowed down with liquor. You know? Every brother has his measure as to what he can let go or what he can moderate, or regulate. But it's always when you let go of certain things in the flesh, there's always a better return in the spirit, man. And the Most High doesn't have to do that, but he does it. You know? Energy is not destroyed, it's transferred. So if you no longer releasing your energy, if you're no longer pleasing your flesh, all right, that pleasure is going to go somewhere, and that's when you experience the intangibles, the peace, the clarity, You experience having more vitality. Your inner morale increases. Your self-respect increases. Self-control gives you self-respect. You know, you could maneuver more confident in this world. You know, and people don't know that their confidence came from, you know, you just having a more controlled life, man. All right. But you know, now that's pretty much the point, man. You know, value the things that society never promoted. Your peace, your mental clarity, you having high energy, high vitality. But it all starts with you and your decision making. You know. But with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Shai, Bahashim Rakahakodash. I want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone Ruel. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Abba, Kumya, Shalom.